Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Crystal, otherwise known as Radiant Owl, your sacred wisdom keeper, and this is Garden Tea, a space for reflection, insight, and soul-filled conversation. So go ahead and grab yourself a cup of tea, coffee, or whatever you like, and let's have a nice conversation today. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about shadow Capricorn energy. So this can show up as overworking and perfectionism, guilt for resting or saying no, self-sabotage disguised as obligation, and letting others' expectations derail you and your focus. And yes, I will be referring to my notes for this if you guys see me looking off to the side here. The key is awareness. Shadow Capricorn energy is not inherently bad. It is a signal that your natural strengths are being pushed too far. Excuse me. When you integrate the shadow, you learn how to honor your boundaries, protect your mission, and keep your ambition aligned with yours. So when I think of the shadow side to Capricorn energy, I am instantly pulled to my own personal shadow Capricorn, which is overworking. And especially when it comes to studying or getting really deep into whatever it is that I am focused on and working on, big projects, things like that. So a good example that I have for this is when I was studying in college, I was taking classes and I was about maybe 5 hours, 10 hours into studying for whatever it was, whatever class I was taking at the time. And we had some company over, an uninvited guest, and we didn't mind that they showed up. It was a woman who wanted to come by and talk about the Bible, which was fine. My husband and I usually entertained her whenever she'd come by, and we would sit and talk to her for maybe 30 minutes to an hour at a time, once in a while, like maybe once a month. But this time when she came over, I was really deep into my studies and I was not in the mood to entertain this guest, so I went off to my little corner of the room where I was studying, and my husband decided to go ahead and talk to her, which was fine with me. But she kept trying to get me to join into the conversation, and I wasn't having it because I was very busy. And she kept pushing and pushing, and she got to the point where she annoyed me so bad that I ended up snapping. And after that, she never ended up coming back because, well, I think eventually she did, but for a long time she stayed away because I was so irritated that she was trying to interrupt me while I was really deep into my work. And to me, this is just one example of my own personal, like, dark shadow Capricorn energy coming through, right? And I was just so immersed in what I was doing and so heavily focused on what I was trying to do. I didn't want to be disturbed, and I didn't want to be derailed from my purpose and from what I was doing. And so this moment taught me a lesson that sometimes, you know, your energy and boundaries don't always come across as polite or soft, right? But they are necessary. So your mission, your focus, your growth all deserve respect, even from those who have the best intentions. Sometimes this energy is a boundary, and that is something that, you know, the Saturn energy really comes through and helps to teach us. And that is, it may come off as like a shadow side, but again, it is just a boundary. It's something that when we get pushed too far, it tends to stir up these sort of emotions. So if you can think of a time where this may have had some sort of impact on your life, where you may have showed up in this darker Capricorn energy, that is sort of the theme of today's topic. Capricorn energy is naturally disciplined and ambitious, and the shadow, again, can show up as overworking, perfectionism, things like that. The key is awareness. Shadow Capricorn energy is not bad. It's a signal that your natural strengths are being pushed too far. So when you integrate the shadow, you learn to honor your boundaries, protect your mission, and keep your ambition aligned with your soul. And then I have some practical tips to help work with this shadow Capricorn energy during Capricorn season. One is to notice your triggers. So what do you feel guilt, pressure, or frustration taking over? When do you feel these things taking over when it comes to your works, your projects, the things that you're trying to do? When does it just become a little bit too much where you're feeling a little triggered or stressed out or irritable, either because something's trying to distract you from this, or because you're in too deep with it and you just sort of need to take a break. But again, with this Capricorn energy, you may be struggling. And then the next one is protect your energy. Saying no is sometimes the most disciplined devotion that you can take for yourself, right? And number 3 is redefine success. Align your accomplishments with your purpose, not external approval. So make sure that whatever it is that you're working on is aligned with what your mission is, your purpose, your journey, your path, whatever you're trying to do. Building your legacy, building your empire, right? Not focused on external approval or necessarily like climbing the ladder to the top. Even if that is part of your goal, that's fine, of course. But making sure that it's aligned with your purpose and like your path, not what other people are trying to drive you to do, but what actually drives you from the inside out. I hope that makes sense. And then we have celebrate micro wins. So recognizing small victories and focus boundaries and self-respect. And then number 5, journal your inner critic. Name it, observe it, and reclaim your power from it. Okay, so then I have a mini challenge for today, and it is to ask yourself where your shadow Capricorn energy has been showing up for you, and where have you allowed others' expectations or guilt to dictate your actions. And then choose one area where you can better assert your boundaries or honor your mission this week. And that's it for the shadow Capricorn energy, really. I know that sometimes people will bring up the fact that shadow Capricorn can also be feeling restricted, right? And again, this crosses into the boundary territory, right? Like, where do you feel restricted or held back, as opposed to what is helping move you forward. And the energy to look for here to help you with this like restriction and breaking through when it comes to Capricorn season is to kind of understand what is the purpose behind the restriction, right? Like Saturn and Capricorn energy doesn't necessarily restrict you to keep you held back and block you from your path or from accomplishing your goals. Rather, what is the restriction telling you about what still needs to be worked on in order to propel you forward, right? So where can you find more discipline? Where can you find, like, for example, a lot of the things I'm talking about during Capricorn season this year are like micro habits and building better habits in order to create your empire and manifest your desires, right? So what is it where you feel these eternal blocks or these things that are holding you back? What is the purpose that they serve, and how can you move past them in order to build better discipline and better micro habits that lead to that bigger expansion in the long run, right? So yeah, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this garden tea talk. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my channel. And I'll be back next week with another one. Next week, we will be talking about the art of patience and manifestation through time. All right, guys, until next time, have a wonderful week.